which is going to be led by a veteran Marine, John Studer in the back there. He's also our Sergeant in Arms, so behave yourself. And the flag is right over here on the stage, right in the corner.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Born and unborn! There you go.
All right, now we're going to have Bob Britsky, the Presque Isle County GOP Chair, lead us in prayer.
First of all, I want to welcome all of you. I think something this important, it's good that we have our Lord's blessing on this, and so we bow our heads for prayer. Dear good and gracious Heavenly Father, it is no secret that the Republican Party in Michigan has fallen upon hard times, as evidenced by the November election, whereby Republicans lost control of both houses of the legislature for the first time in decades. In addition, the Democrats elected the governor, the Secretary of State, and the Attorney General. This happened because at this time in history, the Republican Party of Michigan is hopelessly divided, which has resulted in big money donors being unwilling to risk big dollars on candidates they don't have confidence in. And so tonight, dear Father, we have a debate before us, whereby many of the candidates seeking to become the chair of the Michigan GOP have made their way up here to Alpena, Michigan, to undergo a few hours of questions delivered by Geyer Balog and Monica Dusinski, our moderators this evening. We ask your blessing upon both the moderators as well as the participants on the stage this evening. And finally, we ask that on February 18th in Lansing, Michigan, the delegates will select the one person who has the ability to unite rather than divide the Republican Party, so that once again Republican candidates become relevant and successful in elections, and that big money donors feel confident enough to once again give the needed financial support necessary for candidates to be successful. We ask this in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.
All right, so just briefly, we're going to go over the format, and I wanted to let you know we got about 10 candidates that got in for the deadline in time, and I don't know if it was a snowstorm or what, but we still got a good crew up here anyway, so Scott's on his way. Okay, and then DePerno and Lena also said they're coming, so perhaps they're behind as well. So for format, it's going to be a 2-hour debate. We go from 6 to 8 p.m. We got to be out of here by 8:30, so just kind of move along out and take your questions with you if they're willing to talk in the parking lot, but it's probably a little cold. So each candidate is going to get a 1-minute opening and a 1-minute closing. They're going to get 30 seconds per question. This is a debate, so they're going to get 2 rebuttals at 15 seconds each. So if you have any questions, you can hopefully ask them after the debate. We got the microphone right here. They can come and stand while they speak. And then just a couple brief notes before we get started. So a couple of us have organized a PAC called Save Our Guns. It's pretty self-explanatory. They're coming after our guns, and we want to fundraise so we can get Second Amendment candidates down in Lansing and local candidates for sheriff, etc. So if you want to contribute or anything like that, get tickets for upcoming fundraiser, talk to me and Monica. We'll get you started up. There is a couple candidates from 1st District that are running for the 1st District committee, vice chair, all that good stuff. That's going to happen on February 17th. We've got Sue Eller in the back there. Sue, if you want to stand up. We've got Melanie Greenfield somewhere. Oh, right there. She's running for vice chair. I'm running for state committee. We got Larry Hall running for the 38th District. Senate District. We got John Stewart in the back right there, our security. He's running for the 38th District as well. We got Dara Rendon, who's going to be our honorary vice chair. And if I missed someone, I apologize. I don't see anyone else, but who else?
Chuck Murphy, I'm running for grassroots.
Grassroots vice chair. Thank you both for coming out. Did I miss anyone else? No, we got
Bruce Rendon, running for the 36th Senate, voting member on the Executive Committee.
Go Bruce!
Do we have anyone else that's running for anything?
My
That's probably a good idea. Okay, we also have several co-chair candidates here. So if you just want to one by one, we got James Stewart right there. James, can you stand up? He's with JD. I see Melinda Pego. It's Christina Carano. Lisa Mankiewicz with Mark Fortin. And I want to make sure I got you. Do we have anyone else? State Rep Neil Frisky, thank you very much for showing up. We appreciate you both. Do we have anyone else in the audience? Oh, sorry, yep. Thank you very much. Anyone else I missed? All right, we're live streaming on the Alpena Republican Party site. Thanks to Jeff Dobbs over there. And again, we appreciate you all for coming. I think it's going to be a good debate. We got a bunch of questions lined up, so we should be able to rush right through them. All right, so one more thing. We're going to move from left to right. So just once, with the microphone for your statements. So just keep going like this. Once we get all the way to the end, we're just going to restart. And it's going to be the same pattern, so me and Monica don't get confused. That's for us, not for you. So we're going to start off with 1 minute opening statements. We'll start with Mark Fortin.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have a Republican Party in the state of Michigan. We have a uniparty. The vote for the Speaker of the House is a perfect example. The House is run by Democrats. There's only 8 Republicans in it. The Republican Party of Michigan never intended to beat Gretchen Whitmer, ever. We have to recreate the Republican Party of Michigan under our platform, and we have to recreate a two-party system in this state. We believe we can do that. We believe we can fund it. If we have a real party, real people will donate to the party, just like we found out in Macomb. No big money, no elected officials will give us anything, yet we raised enough to maintain an office for the first time in a 3-year office. The people will give if you have a real party to believe in that fights for them. That's why we're stuck with the big bunch.
Thank you very much. You can just pass it along to Christina.
You know, when you think about giving your kids an inheritance, we think about money and property, but what about the inheritance of freedom? Amen. And that is why I'm running for chair of the Michigan Republican Party, to ensure my children inherit their God-given inalienable rights. This is not just about winning elections, it's about preserving our country and our freedoms. And I'm going to ensure that the party is operating with integrity. People will not give money to a corrupted party. Why would they? People will not give money to a party who will not fight Democrats. We need to ensure that we have secure elections, that we grow our base without compromising our values, and we grow our donor base. No longer will we rely on a handful of people to fund our party, because we're putting our kids' lives in the hands of a few. I will not do that. And that is what I will promise you as your chair. I will never lie to you. I will stand strong against pressure. I've proven that when I ran for SOS. And I will always, always honor our Constitution as our party platform states. Thank you.
Thank you to everybody who's organized this. Welcome to everyone on the stream. My name's Michael Farage. I'm not sure a lot of you know who I am, so we'll start off this way. I started in politics when I was 12 years old. I have been fighting every tax increase. I have been fighting the Republican Party. How many people on the stage can stand up and tell you I was in the motion to recall Democrat Rick Schneider? Because he was a Democrat. Yeah. How many people can tell you that they've taken on public school boards? Election integrity? I was in court in 2014 over election integrity. This is Mike Farage. Lay out the resumes, give it an honest opinion side by side. There's only one person who has taken on these people and only one person who's defeated them. That is Mike Farage.
Good evening. It's great for me to be back in Alpena, where I've got a lot of friends and spent a lot of time when I was active with the JCs years ago. I'm Scott Greenway. I've had an opportunity to be involved in the Republican Party for about 35 years. I started when I was 20 as a college Republican and immediately became a precinct delegate. So I understand exactly how exciting it is for a lot of our new precinct delegates, our new people that have gotten involved. I remember it well. You know, I didn't have a lot of money as a college student. I couldn't go to the big dinners. I didn't have campaign experience at the time, so I couldn't help run campaigns, but I could get involved as a delegate and learn, and that's exactly what I did. And later in life, I wound up as a co-chair of my local party, a finance chair where I'm a demonstrated fundraiser, having raised millions of dollars for conservative causes in the last 35 years. And of course, I had an opportunity to be the vice chair of coalitions for the entire Michigan Republican Party in 2009 and 10. So it's a pleasure to be here. I look forward to the debate and the questions, and I thank you for being involved. God bless.
Hey everybody, I'm Billy Putman from Tuscola, which is in your thumb, right here, right where you can pick it. The number one thing that we need to bring back to the MIGOP so we can be blessable again is Jesus. We've walked away from his, we've walked away from that morality, and they've taken it from us at the state level. If we don't bring Christ back to the GOP platform, all the stuff we talk about here tonight will never ever happen because we're not blessable.
Amen.
Number two, while doing that, Sandy and I, my family, we come from Tuscola County. I've been in the chair there for 2.5 or 2 years, I don't know the math. We've done this. We don't have plans. We have solutions. We've changed our bylaws. We've done election integrity. We've ousted bad legislators. We've made our legislators accountable. We've already done this, and I'm going to share that with you guys tonight, so I'm very proud of that. But first and foremost, I'm here for God, family, and country. And that's the image the MIGOP needs to be going forward. We have that foundation. People will follow and want to be a part of it.
Amen.
My name is J.D. Glosser, and I'm running for the chair position to fix 3 fundamental problems in the Republican Party. One is recruitment. There have been no recruitment goals set by leadership. The other is fundraising. Fundraising is completely broken across the state, and that needs to be fixed. And the other is education. Amen. People don't know what to do in our Republican Party, and it's going to take all 3 of those things to culminate in the force we need to control our representatives. The purpose of the Republican Party is to control our representatives. One of the things that we're experiencing is that they operate independently, and look what it's got us. We won elections. We controlled the House. We controlled the Senate. So the question is, why are we here? We obviously have to fix something deeper than what's currently been happening. We have to fix how we actually exert power over our representatives. That starts with control of money. The delegates have to get control of the money in the party to affect the result of the representatives. That's what I propose as chair. Thank you.
5 minutes?
Oh, there he is.
You got 1 minute, Matt.
1 minute? Well, hello everybody. Sorry I got here late. The roads were pretty bad. But, you know, we, after the election, you know, we decided that what happened to us as candidates should never happen to another candidate. We got no help from the Michigan GOP. We got no help from the RNC, and we set out to change that. Our plan involves getting our youth involved. It involves creating a robust legal department, creating a robust election integrity department to fight Proposal 2, and then also, you know, bringing unity to this party. Doesn't mean that we have to like everybody in the party. Doesn't mean we have to get along, but it does mean we need to be civil with each other. And our plan also involves fundraising, low-level fundraising, mid-level fundraising, and high-dollar fundraising. If we want to replace the high-dollar fundraising, let's go outside the state of Michigan and bring in new donors.
So we had some candidates rolling late. Is there anyone else in the audience that's a candidate for state party chair? Okay, if not, we're going to go into questions. And just a reminder, don't pull your phone out up on stage. I don't think that's going to be a problem, but we had that last debate. That's kind of weird. So, and then if we could have all your phones silenced as well, we'll get started here. And Matt, we're going to just move from left to right, and then it's going to circle back around to Mark. So I'll end with you, start with Mark. So let's get started on the first question here. And you get 30 seconds for the answer, and you get 2 rebuttals if someone brings up your name or whatever. It's up to you. What is the root problem currently facing the MIGOP, and how will you fix it?
The root problem is that we have to recreate it. We are the Republican Party. We have unity,
The convention showed unity, 88%. The delegates are unified under rule of law in the Republican platform. It's the leadership that has to be disposed of, and we will be fine. We will build the party, and people will come. This stuff about these rich people running this thing and working against the delegates all the time, look where it's got us.
I would say the root problem is that our leadership does not care about the well-being of the state. They only care about the well-being of themselves. That's the fundamental problem. You know, they make all the decisions based on tribalism, and they will sabotage candidates who won't bow the knee. I also think we have to realize why the Republican Party as a whole across the state is broken is because, you know, when you think about the globalists we're fighting, do you just think they're in the Democrat Party? No. They exist in our party too. And so, as I say tonight, our goal isn't just to win elections and just so we can say we're in charge. It's to save our country, and our party is completely broken from the bottom, and it's corruption.
Mark Fortin is right. Our party is unified. I mean, when 88% seated his group, that shows unification. Secondly, do we really want a party? Do we really want to welcome, I mean, these great people that the only time they'll donate is if they can control a candidate? I love Congressman Heising who says, oh, of course we're going to disagree. We can disagree on an issue on whether to spend 5 cents on the roads, but we can't disagree on constitutional values, period.
The biggest problem facing us right now is all those tribes. It's a huge issue, folks. We've got the donor class, we've got establishments, we've got people we call rhinos, we've got America First, we've got platform Republicans, we've got constitutionalists, we've got the libertarian wing of the Republican Party. And the problem is they're not really unified. Yeah, we had a vote at convention, one vote that happened to pass by 88%. But there is a much larger problem statewide with people not being involved. We all need to unite to beat Democrats, and I'm uniquely qualified to do that because I've been around and I know people in every one of those wings.
Everybody knows the problem. Here's the solution. We need strong, godly leadership. We need actions that actually do something and accountability. Our legislators for the last 40 years have done nothing.
Here, here.
MIGOP in the last 10 years has spent $100 million and we have nothing to show for it. The money laundering, the transparency, all that, we need transparency to stop the money laundering. We need campaign finance that the legislators answer to us. The delegates need to hold the purse strings, and that's what we have to offer to you, is a bylaw that is delegate strong so that our legislators answer to us. When we do that, we're a party that's ready to go. You guys did a wonderful job November 8th.
That's time, Billy. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I would say that the problem with the party is the lack of people who went home. There's unity across the people, but they don't know how to yet work together. The purpose of the party is to unify all of the people into a voting force that gets things done that the people need. The reason that the establishment works is everybody went home, and so therefore we were controlled by a small amount of people. What our forefathers gave us was a system that makes everybody equal via a vote. But if a lot of people go home and don't vote, then the people who are there with money win. The answer is more money. The answer is more voters. The voters cancel out the control of the money. The answer is for the leadership of the party to bring the people back so that they're participating in this government again.
Yep.
I think there's two major problems with the party right now. One, we have taken away the power of the delegate. We need to return the power back to the delegate through education of the delegates into what their actual role was. Give the power back to the delegates. And second, credibility. The party has lost credibility. And that happens when people donate into the party. There's no transparency as to what Ron Weiser was doing with the money. He was siphoning money out of the organization through high-level or high-paid consultants, and no money was going to the candidates. That's a huge problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks, we appreciate that.
I'm a contest, get back. It's like I'm in track.
Okay,
I'm clearly not.
Okay, next question. How would you handle a discrepancy between your values and the party's values?
Well, I don't have any discrepancy. The Republican Party platform I stand on, and there's nothing wrong with it. And we believe in smaller government, lower taxes, balanced budgets, pro-life, right? But Lansing doesn't do that. Our taxes keep going up. Our budgets keep going up. We're not a Republican Party in Michigan. That's why we have no support. We got to become one again.
I have no discrepancy with the Republican Party platform or values. As a Christian with a biblical worldview and the Republican Party platform being rooted in the Constitution, and the Constitution flows out of a Judeo-Christian morality, I have no conflict with the platform. So I will always abide by the party platform. The Constitution, as our party platform states, we are the party of the Constitution. So the Constitution must be the measure for internal party accountability, electability, and governance. The only reason why we have conflict in our party is because people A, abandon our platform, or B, they allow tribalism and selfish ambition to dictate their decisions.
One of the biggest problems within the Republican Party is the Republican Party itself. Number one is our budget went from $48 billion to now it's $75 billion. How many more freedoms and liberties do you have under a Republican House and Senate and Governor than now, when we have nothing? Huh? Louder. The fact of the matter is, we need to eliminate, this is how you unify, you eliminate the Democrats who have entered our party and won as Republicans. And we, through the precinct delegates, we triple and quadruple the numbers. That's where we grow our party.
The question was on discrepancy, and I really don't have any discrepancies with the platform, with the Constitution. I think that those are things that we need to adhere to. I think our party needs to do a better job of educating new delegates especially. Everybody ought to read that platform. It's not that long. They ought to probably read it once a year so that they stay familiar with it. And the Constitution is our guide, as well as the Holy Bible as a Christian. Those are the labels I like: Christian, American, and Republican. I don't think we need to get into all these other labels. So I don't anticipate that there'll be any issue.
The reason why I'm a Republican, we're pro-life, and we stand for pro-life. We protect our Second Amendment, and we give everything we can to God. If those change, we have a problem, and we're on the verge of that changing, and that's why I'm on this stage today. I'm called to fight for that, to bring it back to Michigan. And so that's why I'm a Republican, and that's why I'm proud to be a Republican, and I want to portray that to the rest of Michigan and the nation so they can be a proud Republican once again and have something to look forward to.
There should be no discrepancies. When you join the Republican Party, you accept the platform and you're supposed to uphold it. We're all supposed to uphold it. If someone goes off track, all of you are supposed to correct them. If I go off track, all of you are supposed to correct me. It's not about change, it's about upholding what we have. One of the problems that we have is when people get upset and they go home. You're not supposed to go home. You're supposed to stay and fight. You're supposed to be in your meetings. You're supposed to stand up. You're supposed to fight. You're supposed to make arguments that cause other people to be inspired to uphold the platform. And when someone gets off track, you're holding them accountable. That's what we've lost. That's what needs to be restored.
Well, I don't have any conflict with the party or the platform. But I've spent 30 years of my life as an attorney fighting for the Constitution and fighting for people's constitutional rights. Look at what people have actually done in their career, and I would submit to you that my career shows that I abide by the Constitution. I'm the guy that in 2015 sued the Michigan Republican Party in federal court because I think the legislature veered away from their constitutional obligations.
All right, we're going to start with, and then work our way down. Sorry, Mark. My co-host pointed out it wasn't going to be fair having you start all the time, and that was a mistake on my part. Yep, we'll just keep rotating. So have you asked for Ron Weiser or Betsy DeVos's endorsement for your run for state party chair?
No, I'm not.
I think I'm the only candidate to date where Betsy DeVos has outright said should not win this.
No.
Especially when they voted for Ron Romney. They just passed that, so definitely not.
I'm proud to say she doesn't know who I am.
That you know.
The answer is no, but I would comment on what happened with the vote for Ron Romney today. Our chair, Ron Weiser, didn't even go to the vote. Instead, he gave his proxy. And guess who he gave his proxy to? Ron Romney. So she voted for him at this election.
That should be illegal. That's illegal.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. Have you asked for Ron Weiser or Betsy DeVos's endorsement?
Cold day in hell. If I had it, I would be out there with some group of people burning it, and so on and so forth, and it's a pity that Mr. Weiser could not afford to go. I'm a retired auto worker. I'd have paid his ticket.
Thank you. Mike. Mike.
The mic.
All right, new question here.
I want to go back to that one.
It was too easy, right? Would you support replacing the current board of state canvassers, and if so, why?
That's another high fat one over the plate. First and foremost, Norm Schenkel has been around way too long. He's part of the problem. Anybody that objects and says, I'm not voting or I'm abstaining, that whole board of committee, that's all just, that election, whatever that is, that's all nonsense. I support any candidate that supports the United States Constitution, the Michigan Constitution, and believes in our platform. It doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't matter what their name is. If they're not following the party platform, then they belong somewhere else, period. That doesn't mean they're a bad person, it just means they belong in a different party.
Amen.
Well, Norm's not on the board anymore, of course. It's Richard Hauskamp and it's Tony Daunt, who are the, quote, Republican, and notice I said, quote, Republican representatives. Norm was replaced earlier last year when he announced he was running for state representative, and there's an inherent conflict with being a candidate on the ballot. I think that we've got to have people that abide by the rule of law first and foremost on that. They've got to take a look at the black and white evidence put in front of them, and they've got to interpret it properly along with the statute of the state of Michigan, and I'm not sure that's been happening. So yes, I would be in favor of looking at those two.
Well, I think this February we get to pick a replacement. It's every 4 years, odd years, so we have to look forward to that. And I've been preaching that a lot because we replaced the two in our counties. You have to look at your county ones too. They're the first line of defense to securing your vote. Why it's important is because they are Republican Board of Canvassers. They're not Board of Canvassers. And what they did with Proposal 3 and Proposal 2 and even Proposal 1 was a debacle. I went and spoke on Proposal 3 and they didn't even care. They wanted to bust through 100 people wanted to talk. They did 1, 2, 3. No, it's a Republican Board of Canvassers. You fight for our foundations.
We have a revolving system for a reason, and we don't revolve. We're supposed to have people who are in and out and not stay there all the time.
Right.
Canvassing is important, and that Board of Canvassers position is important. They can't be intimidated. You know who I want? I want that guy, right there. That guy. That's who we need on our Board of Canvassers.
Well, I'm not happy with the current Board of Canvassers for the Republicans either. When Ron Weiser had an opportunity to replace them, and he did, he nominated new people, myself and other people in the party, we proposed to him a slate of different candidates who we thought were constitutionalists. who we thought would stand up for the rule of law. He didn't pick those, he picked the current ones he did, and I think they have not served us well. They did not follow Republican values, and I think they submitted to the Democrats. So absolutely, we should replace them.
That is the most corrupt body there ever was. They illegally removed 5 candidates for governor that we did not have a choice to support or not. It was illegal. Dan Hartman was here a little earlier, and he can tell you, they knew way in advance that those candidates had hired a corrupt organization to get signatures, and they did not tell those 5 candidates. They let it go to the end, and have they ever gone after that company for fraud? No. They took the victims and threw them off the ballot. I'm sorry, I don't care, Republic, those 4 people are uniparty, just like the rest of our state. It has got to be a new system, something's got to happen, but people have a right to run for public office, and you have a right to look at them and see if you want to vote for them. And what are those 4 creeps, what are they doing there?
That's time, Mark. Thank you.
After the 2022 election, I spoke before the Board of Canvassers, and House Camp and Tony Dog tried to insinuate I was a liar. They are probably 2 of the worst human beings I could ever conceive of. And in addition to the fact, they had their vote to certify the election before public comment. So what is the point of public comment? It's an exercise of futility. And for them to insinuate that I was a liar when I spoke up about the corruption in the QVF. And then they played this little game while they were conferring with each other to try to have some credibility. So as chair of the Michigan Republican Party, I cannot wait to replace the Republican Party.
Can I do a quick 15-second or 30-second rebuttal?
You can use up one of your rebuttals right now. Thanks for using one.
You bet. So understand the process, folks. The Republican chair and the Democrat chair each nominate, when there's a vacancy, 3 candidates. Those 3 candidates are then appointed by the governor. So Chairman Weiser gave 3 names to Governor Whitmer, but she makes the ultimate appointment just as a Republican governor would, just so you understand the process.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you.
All right, Scott, we're going to start off with you. What is your specific plan to beat election fraud in 2024?
Folks, we've had such problems with election fraud, and long before President Trump did us the favor of shining a big light on it in 2020. We need to look at 2018, when the Southfield Democratic City Clerk wound up pleading guilty to 6 felony election fraud issues. I think that we need to raise a lot of money. We need to do a much better job with that money of hiring expert legal officials that the party helps direct, not that are independent and on their own. And then, of course, we need a volunteer army to really do a good job with election day operations, not only on the day of the election, but with the absentee balloting, the stuff in advance. It's a longer question. I have more to say.
Here's how we win. We do what we did in Tuscola County. We had our vote, and we made all of our clerks accountable for their actions for election integrity. We've re-prosecuted 2 at the local level. One of them caved and said, I'm sorry, let's correct it. And the other one, we're taken to the Hill, brought it to our sheriff and our prosecutor, and we're currently doing it right now. Secondly, Sandy Kiesel, Election Integrity Force. She has a wonderful plan. We need to qualify the voter roll. We need to do it at the county level so we can keep up with the state of Michigan. They're changing it every day. I'll use my 15 seconds because this is too important. We have to outsmart the Democrats. We have to do ballot proposals because our legislator ain't doing it. We have 6 in the tube right now. Medical freedom, constitutional carry, QVF, get rid of Eric. We already started the process to get our elections ready because that's the only way we're going to be able to legislate. I'll take another one. And with that being said, because this is important. I want my country back. I want my state back, and I want them to say, hey, good job, Florida, but I want to be like Michigan now. That's what we want. And we can do that in 2024. Not only are we going to be profitable, not only are we going to be successful, not only are people want to be like us, but we're going to win. I'm tired of losing. Amen. I told my kids, second place is first loser. And I don't want to live that in 2024 and say, sorry, kids, I'm a loser. So.
There's nothing wrong with our laws. The problem is they aren't being enforced, and that's the new thing, okay? This is a people problem. And what he said is correct. We inherited a country that we are passing on in worse shape than the one that we inherited. And it's our collective fault. I'm guilty, right? I'm guilty of this.
We all are, JD. Good job.
So we have to come together and force people to do their job. There are people, when you get down to it, I've done research for your team. I've done research for Dan Hartman. I participated in the research. The problem comes down to there are people that took an oath to do a job and they aren't doing their oath. And we have to come together and say, you will do your oath.
Yes.
Well, it's several different questions in terms of how we win elections, how we force our prosecutors and our sheriffs to follow the law. I think the question specifically is what can we do as chair to fight election fraud. I will build the biggest internal law firm the state party has ever seen. We better start bringing these cases. Our state legislature wouldn't do it. I will do it. I had an entire plan, people. I'll take 15 more seconds. I had an entire plan, if I had won as AG, how we were going to go after Dominion voting system, how we were going to go after Eric. This is not a simple answer, but I have a chart that I would like to show you at some time. I have it here tonight. Dominion voting system is not just one entity. It is a huge spider web of corrupt globalist organizations, and we have to try to figure out how to cut off the head of that organization. But it is a huge problem, and if we can use the state GOP to fight that, I will do it.
Thank you.
Listening to the answers, I'm a little bit confused what the question was. 'Cause that was kind of...
So the question was, time. What is your specific plan to beat election fraud in 2024?
My co-chair and I have been fighting election fraud since 2020 and when we talked to the president. He knows he won that race. He asked us to keep fighting for it. And we told him that in Michigan it's a brick wall, red and blue bricks. They're held together with the mortar of socialism. And there's no law firm, because this gentleman said he's going to make the biggest law firm, a ton of money, right? But he also said at the last one of these debates that we can't beat anything in court. So why spend a ton of money for law firms if we can't win in court? Ladies and gentlemen, we got a major issue, and we got to work on it, and we can fix it. I really believe that this can be done, but we have to make our party Republican again, so people come together and we can make it happen.
Our election system is intentionally overcomplicated that way people don't understand how to engage in it. One of the first things we have to do is educate our delegates on how the election system actually works and how we can insert ourselves at every process to ensure accountability and minimize the amount of corruption. We have to have a statewide canvas effort to fight back against the corruption in the qualified voter file. That's the #1 source of fraud, well over machine corruption. Also, we have to have a legal team to engage at the local level, not just state, because there are so many laws on the books where clerks can clean up parts of, they can actually be involved in cleaning up parts of the QVF themselves, they just don't know it. So I wish I could use 15 more of my seconds. Can I use 15 seconds? So I mean, the thing about it is this question, we can't answer it in 1 minute. We can't answer it in 5 minutes because there's so many layers to this process. I'm a part of a national organization called the Conservative for Election Integrity PAC. I've been involved in it for almost 2 years, and we see the same type of corruption nationwide. These people are organized nationally and deploy their corruption statewide. So there's so much that needs to be done, but it's education, engagement, and then legal action will be the 3 categories I will fall under.
There are many layers to this problem. It's very complex. Who shot John F. Kennedy?
The driver.
You know, the fact of the matter is, if Venezuela and Cuba and Bosnia like this software, it's bad for freedom and liberties, period. What can we do? I've asked Pat Kobeck to be my running mate. He hasn't given me an answer, which probably means no. But I believe Pat Kobeck has been nothing but great when it comes to fighting election integrity. Sandy's great too. I need to utilize all these people. But my friends, the enemy for this issue is not the Democrats only. It's the people within our Republican Party.
All right, so Mark Horton wanted to do a quick rebuttal. Mark, is that correct? 15-second rebuttal. Okay, they got the mic. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll keep this. How many 15 seconds is it?
We get
You get two 15-second rebuttals.
Every question.
And you're all out, Billy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what it's like here, but in Macomb County in Chesterfield, where I live, township, we get a voter card in the mail from our Republican clerk, okay? Now, my wife and I, the kids are gone. My son's been in Pennsylvania for 30 years, raised a family there. We got the voter cards for 2022, open the envelope, 3 fall out. One is for my son, who's been off the bat. This is 2022. Our elections are corrupt. How many know Donald Trump won in 2020? How many believe this election?
It's done. Thank you. You can pass it over there to Billy. We'll start with the next one.
One of my rebuttals, there's a guy who's not here yet who is running. His name is Scott Ogney. This is his issue. Just like with Alan Keyes, it's the family. This is Scott's issue, and he's not here. But I encourage you, if he doesn't make it in time, go online and look at what he says. This man is a rock star when it comes to this issues.
What would be your specific strategy of returning power to the delegates?
We already did this in Tuscola County. Change the bylaws. That's the #1 thing. We changed the bylaws and we got rid of our executive committee. It's a stepping stone of uncommunication. We made the executive committee every delegate in our room. We started with 5, we have 104 delegates. We just did it last night. And what we did, everybody gets a vote, a fair vote. We don't do slates.
Here, here.
We don't do inequality. Everybody is treated fairly. That's what our bylaws state. Then we made our legislators accountable. So when you have 104 people signing a resolution, you'll see one tonight. 2 more seconds. We can get it done. So the bylaws are the key to success at any level.
Returning control of the delegates means activating the delegates into participation in our government. There is a reason why there are so many delegates per county, and it is so that if they were all participating, candidates would seek the endorsement of the delegates, and that doesn't happen because it's completely busted. I believe our party has been intentionally dismantled so that there were very few people participating in it. The delegates have to be filled, they have to be elected into position, they have to be participating, and they have to be taking control of the finances so that they have something to influence our representation with. That is the purpose of the party.
Good job, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we have to return power to the delegates. The delegates already have the power, they just don't know what it is. They haven't been educated, they haven't understood their role. And we're going to do that. We're going to activate, motivate, and inspire our delegates to go out and understand what their role is. Come into the county parties, recruit more people, recruit more delegates, and start showing leadership within your party. Start vetting candidates in your own districts. We don't do that. Look at what we're going through up here. Have you ever done this for a prosecutor or a sheriff or your state reps or state senators?
May I have the question again? I'm getting old.
Sure, nope, you're good. What would be your specific strategy of returning power to the delegates?
The delegates have the power. On August 27th, 88% of the delegates are true Republicans voted for the rule of law. They did not vote for Lisa and I. They don't know us. They voted for the rule of law, which is a core Republican principle. Okay, so now the delegates in Macomb are unified, always have been. Big controversy. Oh, Macomb County's got all these problems. Well, we didn't have problems until the April convention. In the April convention, Michonne Maddock, Eric Castiglia, they convinced Matt DePerno that Castiglia controlled Macomb County, and they had to overthrow Macomb County to get it done to make sure the delegates voted for him. Well, I'll tell you what, we got totally. Can I use my rebuttal time?
Sure. Yep.
So I don't know how much time that is. So you people did the right thing and put the proper leadership back in place. We were unanimously reelected for 2 more years. This is my 3rd term. We had a doggone convention last night. I'm getting old. 100% totally voted in for the permanent chair of the convention, which, as you know, Mr. Castiglia didn't, but as you know, that's only for the day. Macomb County Republican Party is 100% unified, except for about 20 or 30 votes controlled by this Castiglia guy.
That's time, Mark. Thank you. You pass it, Christina. Thanks.
So, first thing, if you please visit our website, carmelpago.com, we discussed the first thing we're going to do is comb through all the state party bylaws to ensure that there are no laws that disenfranchise delegates. Also, delegates need to be educated. Melinda Pago, who I'm so grateful that agreed to be our co-chair, she's been training delegates and candidates for free for 3 years every month. That way people can actually know how to meaningfully engage their government. Most people do not know how their government actually works. So it's not about the delegates serving the party. If delegates know how their government actually works, then they can engage their local community, and then if we, in say 2 or 4 years, get a dishonest chair, they're not at the mercy of whoever is in office. They know exactly how to engage their local community. And also we need to ensure that people have adequate data. The data that our state party provides.
Christina.
Sorry.
Thanks. Sorry. No, you're good.
Yeah. Oh,
Can you repeat the question, Sheila?
What would be your specific strategy of returning power to the delegates?
Well, first of all, the power is in the delegates. The number one thing we need to do is prevent the Boys and Girls Billionaire Club from doing what they're trying to do. In the Democratic Party, how they avoided the delegates taking over is they give elected officials super delegates. So basically, an elected official has 500 votes. First and foremost, we have to secure the fact that the system, the precinct delegates, continue to dominate the system. Secondly, freedomworks.org. Everyone, go there. Look for Freedom Teams. Sign up for the webinar where you will learn not only how the Constitution works, but it's going to make you all smarter all the way down for the lower level officials.
That's time, Mark. Thank you. Mike, I'm sorry.
I did it too.
So, absolutely correct, the delegates have the power. We need to educate them, we need to activate them, we need to make sure they understand the power that they have so they can participate. One way that I'm doing that right away is by not naming a co-chair. You know, if you don't name a co-chair, first of all, any of these folks could wind up as my co-chair, or any of their co-chairs could wind up, because it's a decision not made by one person, but by the state committee. Unfortunately, there's not a mechanism for all of the delegates to vote on co-chair, or I'd go that route. But the mechanism requires the newly elected state committee will name my co-chair, not me. You folks will elect those people on Friday night, so the delegates have direct input. That won't be the only decision you make. As a leader, as a chairman, I recognize we'll only be most powerful if we have the delegates making many decisions. Thanks.
All right, so the next question, we're going to start with J.D. Glaser. Do you believe the lobbyists should give money to the party instead of the candidates? If so, what would this look like in practice?
There's nothing wrong with lobbyist money. Sure, I would take their money. The problem is transparency, and the problem that we have right now is the lack of transparency. It's not that money comes into the party, it's that when it comes in, you need to know it, you need to know how much, you need to know who it came from, and you need to know what you're going to do with it and who's going to make the decision of where it gets spent. That decision should be in the hands of the delegates at state convention. That's why you go there. This privilege has been denied for people for a long time. I do want to end this by stating that at the August convention, it was me that put my name on the letter that gave instructions for everyone to know what to do, so that 88% of the vote was a result of leadership applied. What people forget is that when things fail, that person also takes the blame. So that's something to remember when it comes to leadership. You have to be willing to get out there, put your name on it, make people aware of it, and then lead them into the result. Thank you.
Can you repeat that, please?
Let me see here. Do you believe the lobbyists should give money to the party instead of the candidates? If so, what would this look like in practice?
Well, I think if we can convince as a party the lobbyists to give money to the party, that's favorable to the party. We can't stop lobbyists from doing anything they want. There's a Supreme Court decision, Citizens United, that tells us that. So it's already a constitutional issue that's been decided. Our goal as state party is to build up credibility, have transparency, get rid of high-paid consultants who siphon money out of the party, and convince the lobbyists that it's better to give the money into the party than pick and choose their own specific candidates. That's what we want. That unites people when we have people give money into the party.
Our state is run by lobbyists, dark money, PACs. It's not run by you. Okay? When they get elected and go to Lansing, they forget all about you. They have people they work with. They don't have constituents anymore. So we have to get rid of this general fund, slush fund, money laundering operation. How many times have you seen gas tax or something? It goes into that, and then it goes out to all their buddies in the bureaucracies. We got to get rid of that slush fund. That's nothing but it's a machine. Lobbyists, PACs, and the general fund. Need major changes there, folks. This is a republic. This is a republic, not an empire. All right? And we are supposed to be the ones in control.
There is no mechanism in place to make for us to make lobbyists give money to the party over the candidates. Number two, no lobbyist would agree to that because it creates a middleman. The goal of the lobbyist is to get an elected official to vote a particular way. So then if they have to go through the party, that creates an unnecessary middleman. The way we disempower the lobbyist funds that can sway candidates is by educating the public on how our government works and how to hold our government officials accountable. If we do not want our party and our candidates and our elected officials to be swayed by donors at the expense of our party platform, then it requires us to educate the public the way they hold elected officials accountable and not lobbyists.
I'm going to answer this indirectly, but with a direct answer. If you were not proud of what took place in Washington, D.C. with the Magnificent 20 in fighting Kevin McCarthy, vote for one of these people, because I thought that was great. Yeah. What we need is a leader, and I hear these candidates that I'm running against say, we shouldn't be involved in primaries. Like hell, if I see a Mike Shirkey on our ticket, I'm going to fight against him. We need to get candidates like Neil Frisky, like the ones in the 20, and others, because this way, it doesn't matter how much you donate, you will not be influenced by money. That's simple. Remember, the lobbyists send a lot of them to our party.
Good job, Mike. Yeah. That's smart. That's smart. I love your vote.
In answer to the question, yes, absolutely. Our party will need to raise about $30 million to properly market our candidates throughout every corner of this state in 2024. Importantly, we've got a U.S. Senate seat that's open for only the 4th time in the last 35 years that I've been involved. So if any organization, if any individual would like to donate to the party, yes, I will encourage it, but here's the catch. No, and I mean absolutely zero strings. I've returned checks to donors before for thousands of dollars when there have been strings. I won't play those games.
This is where business takes over, okay? How many in here want the power to tell your legislator what to do? Well, you better control the checkbook, because that's all they answer to. Until we get rid of the ones that sat on their lawyers on November 8th, we have some corrupt individuals in the House. So we have to control all the funds with a 2-party check system and transparency at the MIGOP level. That's why everybody's so gun shy, is because Ron Weisner and the elitists have been holding the blind budget that we never get to see.
Here.
So the transparency is key, and I do not trust legislators to do what I need to do with my money. And so with a trusted delegate purse held, our legislators will be accountable to us, first and foremost, no matter where the money comes from.
Okay, thanks, Billy.
Good job, Billy.
15 more seconds. It's over. Yeah, it's over.
Good job, JD.
It's Matt, right?
Do it again.
That was JD?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you support Donald Trump? If so, will you endorse Donald Trump before the primary election?
I do support Donald Trump, and he supports me in this race. He endorsed me in this race. But that didn't come with strings attached. He knows my position. I do not believe the state party should endorse before the primary. But the state party will be ready, it will be funded, it will be organized at the delegate level and the volunteer level to help him win in 2024 and make sure our Michigan electoral votes go to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
absolutely love and respect the President of the United States, Donald Trump, not the person that they call a president right now. Absolutely will support Donald Trump. We have supported Donald Trump for over 2 years. We supported his desire to try to get an audit. We have never given it up like someone else on this stage. Lisa and I have been fighting for that like he asked us to ever since. However, as much as we love our president, he does not know the people in Michigan, and he ought not to be endorsing people he don't know. I'll tell you that right now. So anyway, but I will support the president no matter what in 2024.
Absolutely, I support Donald Trump. He was the best president of my lifetime. But as chair of the Michigan Republican Party, as a standard practice, we have to remain neutral in the primaries. It just has to be a cut across the board as a party, but I absolutely, personally hope he wins the Republican nomination because he does keep his promises.
I was a co-chair for Donald Trump in Kent County, just like I was a county captain for Christina. I support Donald Trump 100%. We should find out, Matt, if you were the first person he offered the endorsement to. And go ahead, call Michonne and ask, is there someone on this stage that respectfully declined his endorsement? First off, President Trump is awesome, and I will support him, even against the Florida governor, who I like. But he's not perfect. He locked down this country. He sent out all these checks, bigly, all this free money. Bill Barr, Jeff Sessions, Betsy DeVos. He's not error-free. Thank you.
Good job, Mike.
I supported Donald Trump in 2016. I worked awfully hard for him, 17, 18, 19, the re-elect in 20, and I've been supportive of President Trump since he was president. But as Michigan Republican Party chairman, I will be absolutely neutral and assure that party resources are not used to support any candidate in the primary. That's up to the voters to decide. That's up to our neighborhoods and what have you. And whoever wins the Republican primary, the state party will be prepared to fully behind him, and I will endorse at that time.
I love Trump just like everybody else. Great guy, puts his pants on just like we do. But guess what? It's not the job of the chair. The job of the chair is to show everybody equally. Just like all these candidates up here, everybody gets a voice and a chance to talk. The primaries for Michigan should be moved up. We're getting it handed to us with the absentee ballots. We need a fighting chance because we're a people of choice. And I think MIGOP's job is to assist in primaries, as long as it's equal for every candidate. Our governors should have had a Upper Peninsula, a middle of Michigan, and a lower peninsula debate at the hand of the MIGOP, so that our people can see who they want to vote for. I'm taking Mike's 15 seconds. That's what's important, is everybody gets a fair shot.
No.
I don't disagree with Billy. I do support the president, but the job of the chair is to facilitate the will of the people. And facilitate means to give you the opportunity to come together and make your choice. Once the nomination is made, leadership is to be applied to the party so that the party completely supports that person, and that's something that broke down. The party, once that nomination is made, is supposed to come together and use all of their resources to see that that candidate comes across the finish line. That's the function of the party. The chair is supposed to facilitate that process. The people make the choice, the chair facilitates it.
Good job, Gene.
All right, back to Mark, starting off. Yep. Should the party officially censure elected Republicans that vote against Republican values?
Yes. Should the party sanction or censure people who vote against the platform?
Yes.
Yes. We've had enough of this, folks. I had Senator Shirkey tell me on the phone, as we're fighting, it's one of the reasons we had the issues in Macomb. Michonne and Weiser wants us out. Senator Shirkey told me on the phone, he said, Mark, I argued because that Senate report said, the Republican Senate report said that the Attorney General should investigate those people who are challenging the election. I told him that's a violation of our freedom of speech, Freedom of speech is not for foul language on t-shirts. It's so we go after our government when they're wrong. He told me, he said, Mark, those people questioning our election are committing a criminal act.
Okay, Mark, thank you.
He told me that on the phone. Yes, we should do
Thank
that.
you.
Step one, part of Melinda and I's plan will be to post the voting record of all of our elected officials so people can see exactly how they vote, and absolutely we should censor them. To Mark's point, Senator Ed McBroom is a traitor because he sat up there and put in that report that Dana Nessel should consider criminally investigating people who allege fraud in the election, and Dana Nessel said that I could potentially be charged with a felony for speaking truth about election fraud, and the Democrats justified their threats by the Senator Ed McBroom, Lana Theis, and Bison's report. So don't forget that absolutely we should censor those people.
What Mark Forden said, what Christina said, I agree. That's 100%. Half of what each one of them said, I believe it. And on top of that, she mentioned Ed McBroom, what an idiot he is. He is more than, he showed his perfect colors, my friends. When I tell you they are Democrats running as Republicans, that's a perfect example. This woman here is the best patriot candidate we've had in 6 years.
Censures occur at the local county party level, the district level, and the state level. It's not up to the state party chair to determine when or how they're censured. Certainly, I would vote for censure if a Republican is out of line. I don't have a problem with it, but also as state party chair, I do not figure that I'm going to be coming into your county, telling your county when they need to censure, when they don't need to censure. Folks, those are local issues. They're up to the delegates.
The question is should we censor? Absolutely. But how are we going to censor? This isn't sprinkle words and I yell at Trump and everybody cheers. The way we censor is with holding the purse strings. That's number one. Our bylaws, that's number two. We have to rebrand MIGOP. Without these bylaws, we cannot make our legislators accountable. That's first and foremost. We did it in the 9th district. It's been tried and true, and we got rid of 2 commissioners, a supervisor, and 5 school board members doing exactly what we're talking about. First we censored them and gave them a warning, and then we said you're not getting reelected on our ticket. So that's how we do it, with the bylaws. It's very crucial.
This is our problem because Shirky has been censored many times. The problem is, where's the teeth?
Yeah. Exactly.
Power of the purse has been on my website for a while, and it has meaning. It's important, and until the delegates get control of power of the purse, censorship is meaningless. It doesn't matter if a couple people say, I'm mad at you. We have to come together in a force that can remove him, recall him, make sure that he does not get reelected, and that involves people communicating together. The people have to get together. Division is when you're not talking. You want to see unity, get together and remove one of these people.
Well, Senator McBroom was the guy that wrote the report, as Christina said, and I actually am getting investigated because of that. I mean, that was one of our Republicans who did that to us as Republicans. But it's not the job of the chair to run for election in order to seek revenge against other Republicans. So, sure, we can go around censuring Republicans, but for what purpose? Who cares, right?
I do.
Why don't we, I know, you do, but my point is, to what end? Let's censure them, but there's no teeth to it, as JD said. I'll take my other 15 seconds. What we need is to educate delegates to actually get out, recall their elected officials, bring some actual teeth to it, do something that's meaningful. Censuring people is, again, so what? It doesn't mean anything ultimately. Let's do something that actually has teeth to it to recall people who don't follow our platform. That's what I care about.
Do I have a rebuttal? Do I have one? Yes. Yes. Can I buy one?
What is this, spin to win? I could not disagree with, I I could not disagree with Matt DePerno. It is ridiculous. Wait a minute, no one's talking revenge. When he is calling Christina Caramo and other Republicans, Matt, to be investigated, and they're calling them domestic terrorists to do nothing, it is the job of the chair to lead by example, not be a puppet of someone else in our party. First and foremost, the problem is this. Right here, you're seeing on the stage. Some are saying it's okay to call a mother a domestic terrorist. Are you kidding me? Say nothing? No one's talking revenge like we're gonna burn their house down. But we must speak out, speak up, and speak the truth.
Next question. Christina, should the state party send money to the county GOPs to help with local races?
I think what would be a better option is actually helping the county parties know how to raise the funds. I think it's the job of the state to focus on state races, and I think that they should empower the counties. I think that will be a better solution, because if we send money to the counties, that means we have less funds for statewide races. And I believe that the party should be focused also on the infrastructure to ensure that those county races can be ran with less money. Because one of the things that we're going to invest in, number one, is good data. If there is quality data, that automatically lowers the prices of how much our campaigns cost, because we can run them more efficiently. So if we provide the infrastructure to make campaigning cheaper, and then we provide resources and information and training. One of the key things, my background is in education, so training our delegates, training our counties how to meaningful engage will help them with that.
Thank you.
Billy Putnam's been awesome on this, and he's talked about $100 million wasted in the GOP. This is what we got to show for right here, my friends. We got nothing. Fact of the matter is, these counties are now being in the hands of patriots, and they can raise money. Kent County's raising money hand over fist at the moment. But the state party chair must raise money. All these questions are great. I don't have a specific plan, but I do have people who know how to raise money underneath that will help. But let's always keep in mind, we do have to support, there's, a lot of these races are said and done. They're leaning big red, big blue. We need to get involved in the ones we can flip. Sorry.
The way I want to address this, having been a county party finance chair and having raised millions of dollars for conservative causes since 1988, is I want to, and have my team come out and help the local county parties raise money from their donors. And when I do that, when I come up to Sheboygan, when I come out to Presque Isle, I'm not going to have my hand up for the state party. I'm going to sell your party. I'm going to convince and help your donors invest locally, because all politics is local, and our county parties have got to be strong, and we'll help you raise your own money. That's for sure. We'll also have state resources, of course, available, but it's mostly important that you get local donors giving to your party.
Okay, thank you.
It's short and simple. If we have a corrupted school and we need 5 more school board members, and you need $100 million so my kids don't have to listen to critical race theories, or when they come home and say, Dad, what's a furry and why is somebody wearing a tail? Yes, we should get involved. There's no stopping us. We need constitutional sheriffs. I only know of one. Anybody got any other ones? We should get involved. We need constitutional prosecutors.
Yes.
That's where we make our bread and butter, people. The county level is the only thing that we survived this last election. We strengthen that and we build. We have 2 years to do it. No, we have 11 months.
Here, here. Right.
So, that's my answer.
Counties are independent, but they are also underneath the state umbrella, and the state should be providing leadership. The state has intentionally chosen not to apply any leadership to recruiting or fundraising to any of the counties, and a lot of the counties are broke or very underfunded. And I'll put a question to you. When was the last time a county chair paid $300 to bring in a professional fundraiser to teach all of the delegates how to fundraise money so you could have sufficient dollars to raise and support the candidates that you want? Running for a position is different. Campaigning is different than doing the job. How many of you think you could find a better person to do the job if they didn't have to campaign? If the delegates were nominating and putting someone in a position, you might actually get a better class of people.
Well, I think the state parties should be more involved in helping counties raise money. They need to get involved in educating delegates, educating county chairs, to understand how to go about doing it. And to the extent state party chair can help them with their finances, I think they should do that, because a lot of politics start with our school boards, our sheriffs, our prosecutors. If we can get better prosecutors and sheriffs and fix our school boards, the state party should help do that.
Candidates. I would like a promise that if they win, they keep the hell out of Macomb County. I don't want their little kids in our county running around teaching our people that know what's going on, what they're supposed to do. I don't want any money. I don't want anything. We took the majority in Macomb County with a unified party, but people that believed in the Republican Party in Macomb because we're Republican. Okay? We get all of our money. In 2 years, we got our own building. For 2 years, we've received less than $1,000 from the big money in Macomb, or elected officials combined, $750. We raised over $70,000 from people like you because they believe in our party. I want the state party out of my damn county. Every time they come in like Michonne, every time they come in to disrupt it. I want them out.
Thank you. All right, do you believe, this starts with Mike, starts with you. Do you believe the Macomb County Republican Party situation was properly handled, and what would you have done if you were chair?
I'll answer it in 10 seconds. What I did, I voted for that man and that woman.
I don't think it was properly handled going back months. I mean, there was obviously two different parts of that party that were fighting. There were not a lot of communication between the two. It was a real problem, and because of that, you had courts ruling one way one day and then somebody appealing the next day. It was a mess. Do I think what happened was proper? Absolutely, at the convention. I mean, 88% of the delegates voted one way, 12 voted the other. That's a very clear mandate on that particular action. As chair, I would have worked to try and avoid that whole situation and make sure we never had to go through it.
Why did they create it?
I live in the 9th district. I had to hear about it every day. Every day, and I'm hearing about it again. But here's what nobody talks about. The delegates were the ones that were enfranchised. They're the closest elected officials to your districts. The chairs are at the pleasure of the delegates, pure and simple. So, whatever happened between Mark and Eric, God bless you, go in the parking lot and figure it out. But when the delegates get disenfranchised and Ron Weiser sticks his head in there and goes against the rule of law, that's when we have a problem. And that is what we're going to keep MIGOP strong about, is we work together and nip it in the butt before it happens.
Good job.
The entire problem could have been avoided through knowledge. The Bible says we perish for lack of knowledge, and this is a delegate problem. The reason it happened is because the delegates didn't understand things. The delegates didn't understand the process. The delegates didn't understand parliamentary procedure, and the delegates didn't understand how things were supposed to work. And so then when their leader told them something different, they just went with it, which caused a division in the people. Do you think it's important when two football teams get together to play that only the ref knows the rules? What if the ref doesn't even know the rules? Do you think it's important that the players know? Do you think it's important that the coach knows? Do you think it's important that the ref knows? Everybody needs to know. You can't rely on a parliamentarian. This whole thing could have been investigated or changed with everyone knowing what to do.
Thank you.
Well, I think at convention it was properly handled by the delegates. I have no problem with that. I think the party leadership, Ron Weiser, could have done a better job of getting together with the parties involved prior to convention and trying to resolve the issue. He didn't do that. I think that shows that he lacked leadership. But I can tell you from behind the scenes, I was asked by Ron Weiser to step up and say something about it in support of Eric Castiglia. I rejected that. I was asked backstage to support Eric Castiglia. I rejected that idea too. I was asked by former Governor John Engler to stand up in support of Eric Castiglia. We rejected that idea too.
Thank you.
I was there, JD was
Thank you.
there, he understands that.
Time's up.
I think the delegates made the right decision.
Sorry, Mark.
Same question.
May I have it again?
Yep. Do you believe the Macomb County Republican Party situation was properly handled, and what would you have done if you were chair? As soon as you start talking, we'll go.
The Macomb County Republican situation was that a band of people came in and they took over a convention that was not their right to do. They elected a gentleman named Mr. Castiglia, okay? And he was the permanent chair of the convention. He immediately put new rules eliminating the entire executive board and reinstalling a new one that they already had a list for. And they wanted the office shut down. They wanted the keys that none of them put a nickel into, but people like you did. We refused to do that. They took us to court. The 16th Circuit Court, clearly, we can send anyone here the ruling. Bylaws, state party election law.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You know, when people talk about unity, what happened in Macomb County is why our party is so broken. Because the chair and the co-chair stuck their nose in Macomb County situation. That's what happened. And the judge ruled in favor of Mark and Lisa, and the chair and co-chair still kept siding with the other party, even though what they did was completely illegal. So what happened? What happened? The judge ruled who was the correct chair and co-chair of the party. And the state party chair put his nose in and went against the court's ruling. And that is why that entire situation happened. If they would have just followed the law, it wouldn't even have come to that point. And this is why we're fighting as a party, because we have people at the top that engage in tribalism at the expense of delegates.
Thank you. You raise the funds needed to turn Michigan red.
3 different types of money that we need to raise. We need a much better low dollar type program. We need to reach out to folks to get $5, $10, $25, $50 contributions and be much more effective about that, because those donations add up and they increase over time when you show results. Obviously, we need the mid-tier donors, different companies, different PACs, different organizations that believe in our Republican platform values, and we need large donors. We need every type of dollar we can get. I will be transparent. I will have clear plans of how the money is going to be spent. People will be able to come in the office and check up on it at any time they want. That creates confidence.
We don't have a problem. I would like to. He should be up
He
here.
drove 4 hours.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be up here. Listen.
It's Lena Epstein's vice chair. He came, he drove 4 hours. He knows Lena's thing. He should be up here too. That's an esteemed pastor. Oh, co-chair. Yeah, I'm sorry.
All the candidates agree, because this was supposed to be a chair debate. If you all agree to that, that is fine.
I vote to bring him up.
If you all agree, if you all agree. If you all agree.
I think we should start over too. Definitely start over.
You drove 4 hours. You deserve to be heard, without a doubt.
Let him do his 1 minute.
Good. 1 minute. Hey, give you 1 minute. Introduce yourself.
We're supposed to be all about fairness, right?
Amen.
Yeah. Will you identify yourself first, please?
I will.
We'll give you a minute. We'll give you a minute.
Good evening. My name is Donald Eason. I am running as co-chair with Lena Epstein. And I want to thank all the chairs, those running for chairman, for the opportunity to be on stage with them. I just encourage you, I'm here to support Lena, and we're running as a team. Why am I running with Lena as the co-chair? Because she asked me. And my background, I think most of you may know Lena, but my background, I'm a minister. I am the minister to the Metro Church of Christ in Sterling Heights. Prior to that, I worked in the engineering field. I was project delivery manager, customer service manager. My territory was North America. I also ran for Congress against Rashida Tlaib in Detroit. That's where I'm born and raised. And so I'm here for the same reason they are. I just want us to have a party that works together so we can make a better Michigan. That's why I'm here.
Unlike a lot of other candidates, I remember the question. I'm not there yet. $500 million industry is what MIGOP is missing out on. We should be self-funded and cash flowing 24/7. Nobody donates in the off years. We need to build that infrastructure from signage, from media to merchandising, all lost. We need to control our own media firm. The liberals are doing it great for us here in Michigan, and they did it for this last election for half the people running on this stage. It's got to stop. We control our destinies. Then, you know what? We rebrand, we look like $1 million, and the donors are going to want to invest in a successful MIGOP. I love donor money, but I'm not going to be a slave to it, because God says, do not be a slave to anything but himself.
We've proposed a plan for the delegates to invest in the party by becoming responsible for raising money. If 9,000 delegates were responsible for raising $370 each, they could raise the $3 million base operating cost of the party. That would start to prove a point that you care, that you're going to put your sweat and your time in, that you really truly have something vested in the party. Controlling that money would allow the delegates to start achieving something for the party. And if you start achieving some goals, businesses will put in. They want to know, what is the Republican Party going to give them? One of these things would be, maybe we start keeping some businesses open and standing up for them and protecting them. That would be worth something investing in.
Our plan is threefold: low dollar fundraising. We have to increase that. State party only raised $1 million in low dollar this last cycle. I think we can raise $5 million. We can reinvest money from that program into our mid-level program, where we go out, we find businesses have been negatively affected by Whitmer, show them what the party can do for them, show them why we have conservative values that they agree with, get them to donate at least $1,500, and then we move on to high-level donors. I want to replace our current delegate class, or our current legacy class, with donors from outside of state. I know where they are, we can go find them.
I may or may not be there yet, but I actually didn't hear the question.
That's fine. How will you raise the funds needed to turn Michigan red?
How will Lena raise the funds to turn Michigan red? Well, she's a general manager for a multi-million-dollar company. She has a relationship with big donors, so she can make those asks. But she also is a very humble person. She actually raised money for my campaign when I ran against Rashida Tlaib. She does know how to make the calls. She knows. She even works for her current company. She calls their clients, and she does not even tell them that she's the owner of the company. It's simply how she works. She knows how to work with the big and the little, and she will raise funds for this party. She is committed to raising $20 million because we need the money for the Michigan GOP.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, in Macomb County, we did it already. We turned the third largest county in the state red. We did it with donors of people like you. We created a real Republican Party in Macomb. People come to our meetings, they join, they give, and we made that county red. You make the Michigan Republican Party Republican again and stand up for our values, call out those that are elected that don't, and you show the people that you are a Republican Party and they will join. We proved it in Macomb. They come, they join, they give, they participate, they volunteer. We have a heck of a machine in Macomb that they tried to break up.
Thank you.
You can do it. We can do it together.
One of the first things we have to do is return credibility back to the Michigan Republican Party. People don't trust the party. This is why a lot of folks do not give. And we have to abandon the practice of relying on a handful of people to fund the party. Then we're basically their slaves. And then to return to that same practice is crazy, to put it plainly. So our fundraising plan, we want to have large donors. And let's remember, there are a lot of very, very wealthy people who are patriots who will not give money to the party because it's so crooked. And so our middle class is the foundation of America. And we believe as a party to have more than enough money that we need. That is why a portion of our plan has been incorrectly stated, not by the candidates, but it's been incorrectly stated, if I could take part in my rebuttal, by others, that somehow we want to lean on small business owners to do 100% of the funding. That is false. We are saying a portion of our plan is to have reach out to small business owners. There are 500,000 Republican-leaning small business owners in Michigan, and our plan consists of 20% of them contributing at least $120 a year that will provide at least $10 million, and that's just bare minimum. But additionally, we also want to have small dollar donations. There are a lot of everyday people who can afford $50, $25, $1,000 who will not give money to a corrupt party. When we see that the Democrats repealed a retirement tax that Republicans put in place, we're in a bad shape.
Thank you.
Every one of these people had great ideas. I mean, Matt DePerno, JD, all of them have great ideas. As far as at the top level, I have an individual who has donated millions of dollars to the party over the years. Her and several others have formed a committee. I hope if I do not win, they will also support all of these people and raise the money for them as well. These people we need, but JD's right. We are the shareholders. We need to own the party. We are not going to do this, my friends, and be beholden to other people. We are the shareholders.
Amen.
We have to take stock in this. And honestly, if you're upset over paying a few dollars to go to convention, you know.
Thank you.
Okay. I didn't hear any.
It's quiet sometimes. If there was a runoff and Billy, this starts with you. If there was a runoff at convention and your name was not going to make the second ballot, who would you vote for and why?
To be completely honest with you, I've looked at all these candidates, each and every one of them. God bless them. There's Scott's missing. You need to meet him. The candidate that I would support is the one that I behold that is going to bring us back to a Christ-centered party. And with that being said, the only one that I really feel that has the genuine concern, attitude, and is the most like me would be JD.
This is a very difficult question. I gotta have more than 30 seconds. Oh my gosh.
Just be honest with you, it's not 25. We've all thought about it.
I did it.
I hear you.
10 seconds.
Oh, you're stalling. That's a good one.
You just say it. We've all thought about it.
You're not gonna hurt me.
I don't have an answer for you. I cannot tell you that I have an answer. I just can't.
Good answer, JD. I think what we have to look at is someone who can lead the party, who can actually help educate the delegates. It's been a huge part of what we've talked about, educating delegates across the state, getting involved, building our party back up again from the bottom. And with that in mind, I'd like JD Glazer.
Since this is a very short answer, I want to thank the gentleman. I was actually just passed out his palm cards, and they were able to get me up on stage, so I really appreciate that, gentleman. My name is actually not going to be on there anyway, so if Lena does not be voted the chair, the person that I would vote for is Christina. Christina is a friend of mine, and I know her values, and I would definitely vote for her. That's the same.
I'm not going to stumble bum around on this. Lisa and I, this is a major issue to us to restore this party. We've been studying these candidates in detail. There's only one person that we feel has the actual plan if we can't do it. There's only one person that really understands how this party is broken and what needs to happen, and that's Christina Crumble.
So there's lots of great people running, but if I had to pick somebody, it would definitely be Mark Fortin. For the simple fact that Mark stands firm in the face of evil. Anybody can talk a good game when they're surrounded in friendly territory, but what do you do when you have someone screaming in your face and trying to tear you down? And Mark has stood firm. As I know, coming from the communities we come from, we're both from the Metro Detroit area, and we've had to stand firm against some high aggressive and evil opposition, and he has done it. So I need to see evidence that someone has actually done that for me to support them.
Amen.
That is a really good question. When you are not the front runner and when you're in the middle of the pack, you do think about that. I voted for Matt DePerno for Attorney General. I voted for Christina for Secretary of State. As a matter of fact, there's a photo of me at the convention holding up the Matt DePerno sign when he beat Tom Leonard. The only bad part is half of my belly is hanging out, but I don't think, for me, it's a no-brainer. Everyone's a good candidate, but there is no way, I am certainly not a front runner, but there is no way I could vote against Billy Putnam. He is the leader we've needed for a long time.
What a great question. Wow, talk about putting us on the spot. This is why I didn't name a co-chair, folks. I mean, every one of these folks is talented, and I would figure that the state committee will probably elect one of these folks to serve as co-chair when I'm elected. And I think that's fantastic because they all bring different backgrounds, vision, experience, and ideas. And I like them all personally, and I'm friends with most of them personally. I've known most of them a long time. But actually, I'm going to give you an answer of a person that I haven't known necessarily a long time. Not somebody who's been around the party as long as I have. I also am very impressed with Billy Putnam and what he's brought to the table in terms of being an entrepreneur, a lover of Christ, a fair guy, and a great family. So I'd probably look to those.
Next question for JD, starting with JD. We're getting harder now. What are your thoughts on closing the Michigan's primary?
I don't actually have any. It's not something that I've spent time thinking about. There's a lot of other problems that we have to deal with, and at this moment, I don't have any thoughts on that. It's something that will come up, but not immediately.
Well, I would like to close the primary. I think we should. I think we should have Republicans voting in our primaries, and not Democrats voting in our primaries, and that's what's happened over the years.
I think we should have closed primaries as well. I think by closing primaries, you avoid some of the other party voting for what they might consider our weaker candidate. So closed primaries is the way we should go.
I'm for closed primaries. It's one of the major problems we have. I'm also for getting rid of all the AV ballots. I'm 75 years old. At 75, tomorrow could be a whole different life for me. The next election, if I can't get there, I'd rather give up the franchise and know there's not 40, 50,000 votes against my vote out there. The AV ballots have been the core of our problem in the machines. Between the machines and the ballots, we have to get rid of both of them, and we will have fair elections again. Very quickly, Macomb County, Tudor-Dixon won 28,000 votes on election day, the people that voted. When the AVs came in, a $56,000 sweep to the other side.
Thank you.
Right.
We should absolutely close the primaries, and we need to work with our legislatures to get that done because, being from the area in Metro Detroit area, we have seen many times where they will throw a candidate into the race, and then there will be all these Democrats who will jump into our primaries and vote for the weaker candidate. So it's going to be really critical that we close our primaries. How we do that will be another question, because do we register people by party? How do we actually enforce something like that? So I want to see us close the primaries. The question is, how can we actually get that done?
The answer is yes, and we got to figure out how to do it. And Christina, I think in what you had just said, I think we have to tweak it as it goes along. No one has the ultimate answer. But take a look at this. Before Governor Schneider was elected, he went to the Democrats, but they already had their person. The only one who didn't was the GOP, who overwhelmingly somehow, 28 whatever %, we picked Rick Schneider. That's because Democrats crossed over. They do this all the time. Closing the primary will not solve the problem, but it's a step in the right direction. Thank you.
I cautiously support closing the primary. But I say cautiously, because folks, it's not that simple. Michigan is one of the states with the highest percentage of self-identified independent voters in the country. We're going to essentially tell those folks, hey, we don't want you anymore, you have to declare as a Republican. That could cause us problems down the road. We also have to be aware of people who have been active Democrats and switched over and are now conservative Republicans. How do we handle those? So it's a challenging issue, but I do like Republicans voting for Republicans.
Yeah, that's definitely going to take an act of legislation, and we know that ain't going to happen. So what we do know is going to happen is they're going to move the primary out, which is very important for Republicans. That's a given. Proposal 2 is making a lot of us go absentee. When we, August 2nd, left that primary, we had 4 weeks to define our message for our candidates. The Liberals did it very, very well for us. We not only had to fundraise again in 4 weeks, but we had to get our absentee ballot characteristics out for each candidate. By moving that up, we get to play on an equal turf, not a biased turf, with the Democrats.
I have one rebuttal. Your rebuttal, sorry. Remember, we're all living in the current moment. I can remember, I've been around 35 years, when those same type of things benefited Republicans, when we had Republican incumbents, and they had to organize that quickly. So folks, it's a very complicated issue. It's easy and sexy to say, oh yeah, close it. But there's a lot of issues, and sometimes it works for us, and sometimes it works against us as a party.
Yours candidates in the primary.
The first part, I think the party can be involved in trying to find good candidates. I think it's essential for the party to find good candidates. However, I always default back to the issue of this really falls on our local government or our local party. Let's get our delegates involved. Let's educate our delegates. Let's motivate them to go out, knock doors in their neighborhood, find good candidates that should run. That is an essential delegate role. So I would default back to the delegate. As to the second part, I do not think the state party should endorse in any primary.
What will Lena say? I don't think that the state party should endorse a candidate in the primary. I think that should be left up to the voters to determine who they want to represent them. As far as searching out a candidate, I think the party could help in that process, but I think it should be at the local level. When I ran against Rashida Tlaib, it was because of the local people. And what I would like to see is whoever becomes chair, even if a candidate is in a district that is perceived to be Democrat, I would like to see the party chair still support the Republican candidate. That's what I would like to see.
The state party, the state central committee, has a committee, a candidate recruitment committee. It's got to go. All right? The counties, they can find their own candidates. We have no problem. People come up wanting to run. But while they're wanting to run, we have the state party interfering by recruiting elected officials to move up the line or whatever, and creates nothing but aggravation, okay, in the county. You people know your people. You know who you want to represent you. There's people that you can encourage to run. We don't need the state parties sticking their nose in the counties. Again, every time they stuck their nose in Macomb, we had nothing but issues and work and problems. So that should go.
Thank you.
One, the party should never be involved in endorsing people in the primary. It's just unethical. However, the second point is when it comes to the state party involvement with candidates, I think there has to be clear rules, and this is one of the reasons why it's so important to elect a state committee, because I, as chair, on my travels, encounter someone who I know is highly, highly competent. it would be a great thing to say, hey, have you considered this? But at the same time, you have to have clear rules. That way you're not involved in helping or giving them an edge specifically as they run across the state. So it would be dishonest for me to say that if I encounter somebody who's absolutely an amazing, godly patriot, that I wouldn't say, you would be great at this. But at the same time, we have to have clear rules, and that's the role of state committee to ensure the chair is not involved in the primaries.
Thank you.
To ensure these rights, governments are instituted among mankind. The state party should allow the locals, but they still need to be involved in this state party. What happened at our nominating convention to Matt DePerno, to Lena Epstein, to Dr. Linda Lee Tarver was horrible. You know, that's where state party oversteps. We need an individual, and I will be proactive. But to outright force, tell DePerno, you need to go say this, or they outright try to sabotage Lena and Dr. Tarver's campaign. That, my friends, will never happen under me. And anyone who tries to pull that stunt gets thrown out. You're welcome.
I'm pretty clear on where the party ought to be in primaries. It's on my banner, it's on my literature. The party should not endorse or pick favorites or pick winners and losers in any Republican primary. That decision is up to the voters. Now, in terms of recruitment, I think on a state level, of course, the state party needs to take a look and make sure there are competent candidates running. And if there's a couple, they need to keep their hands off. But I can remember a few years ago when we didn't have any Supreme Court candidates, and it was like February of an election year. That's a problem. That also can't happen. So we got to keep our eye on this stuff.
Exactly. With that being said, no, it's not the MIGOP. The MIGOP's job is to be the big brother and big sister and say, here's our candidates, take a look at them. And while our Republican family's taking a look at them, it's the MIBOG's job to make sure that the liberals don't define our message. So it's all smoke and mirrors. We protect our kids until after the primary. And then we all get behind the kid that we choose and we run with it full steam ahead. That's what our job is. With that being said, it hasn't been done like that. And that's why we're asking all these hard questions. And this isn't rocket science. This has easily been able to do that, but we've got an authoritarian problem and they're cramming it down our throat.
The reason I can't pick a secondary person is because I evaluate plans. And the only reason I'm running is because I really truly believe I have the only plan that's going to actually change us. Otherwise, I wouldn't even run. I would just support somebody. Do you know that as delegates you have the right to nominate? This has been lost. The delegates are supposed to do the nominating, not be told who to nominate. You're supposed to do the nominating. This has been fundamentally taken from you, and I believe the answer lies, the job of the chair is to see to it and facilitate that the delegates are doing the nominations. It's something you have to take control of.
Lena down there? What are some policy positions that all Republicans should support in order to be part of the Republican Party?
What are some policy positions that all Republicans should support to be part of the party? Well, the number one policy position, they should be willing to follow our platform. Every Republican that calls himself a Republican should follow the Republican platform. They should have the courage, when the policy we stand up, it was mentioned earlier, for human rights, we should stand up for what I'll call the policy of really doing that's 1 minute already?
Do you want to use your rebuttal?
I will use my rebuttal. What we just talked about, a closed primary. I think we should have a policy of having our closed primaries. I can't get away from that. I lived in the state of Indiana, and that worked well for selecting a candidate. And what I see here in Michigan, before I left Michigan to go to Indiana, and when I come back, I can see what's happening with open primaries. And if we have a policy for that, I think everyone should follow it. That's fine.
I hate to ask this, but may I ask the question again? Receive the question again.
What are some policy positions that all Republicans should support in order to be part of the Republican Party?
I have a copy of the platform. Very few people do. It's a very rare document. It's kind of large. We're not all going to agree on everything, but there's certain basic core principles of the Republican Party that everybody should agree on. Amen. The Constitution of the United States, limited budgets, smaller government. I think in Macomb County we used our bylaws. We have a clause in there that says you stay out of primaries except in extraordinary circumstances. We have used that, and we are going to start endorsing in primaries. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we're in extraordinary circumstances. They're chopping up our daughters. They're teaching all kinds of garbage. The Republican Party's got to stand up. And since we are an organization with a platform, we have a right to say who's a Republican and who's not.
Amen.
Can you answer the question? I think this is about, I answered that already, about being involved in the primaries. No, okay, can you ask it again?
Okay. What are some policy positions that all Republicans should support in order to be part of the Republican Party?
Oh my gosh. So number one, I am pro-life from conception till natural death. If we do not have the right to life, you have nothing. That is a fundamental human right. From the moment I am conceived, I have a right to live. The second one is our Second Amendment rights, because that is designed for a healthy, fair, and tyrannical government we have. There's a reason they're coming after our gun rights. Additionally, the right to, when it comes to the rights of the states, to really stop from our rights being taken away at the federal level. So there are just so many things, but I would say the right to life is fundamental. Our Second Amendment right, if I could add to that as well, our freedom of speech, and to have a limited government. And the other thing that's fundamental is to stop the globalist onslaught on our state. Okay, I apologize. No, I can't.
If you support the Declaration of Independence, everything else takes care of itself. The Declaration is more important than our Constitution because it gives people, it authorizes you, it demands to throw off tyrannical government. Yes. More than anything. The Second Amendment signifies the first, backs up the First Amendment. And I'll close by saying this, Christina, what you said was really awesome. There are no liberties without life, period. That's simple.
I'm pro-life, I'm pro-gun, I'm pro-limited government, I'm pro-state rights. But at the end of the day, I'm also a Reagan Republican. I answer this a little more pragmatically than some people because, folks, if we can agree 80% of the time, I want to manage the organization by inclusion rather than exclusion. I talked to you about the fact a few moments ago that this state is ripe with independent voters. So if we can't agree on one particular issue, I'm not really excited about being in the business of throwing you out when we agree on 99 others and we can collaborate to move this state ahead. That's where I stand on that.
Number one, I want the 10 Commandments put back in every capital. Here, that's number one. You can't have anything else unless you have Christ. Number one. Number two, my kids, my choice, everything. Those are my kids. They took that away from us with Proposal 3. I want that back. I will not put my hand on Michigan's Constitution and defend it because they're killing my kids. I defended that. I went to the Board of Commissioners and I said, no more. Number 3, Putman versus United States. We're a family of doers, not just watchers. My brother defended your right to have a gun. Thank you. We did it. $1 million to keep my brother exonerated. I'll have Christina's extra 15. With that being said, that is actions. Google it. I love my brother. It took 18 months off his life.
Thank you, Billy.
That's what I fight for.
One of the ways to end division is for everyone to focus and concentrate on our platform. It's what we all need to be talking about, and we degenerate when we start talking about things that are below the platform. Our Constitution is important. The Second Amendment, I used to think, just gave you the right to purchase a weapon. But the first words are a well-regulated militia. Well means modern. Regulated means you practice. Militia means we the people, and that word has been bastardized. If we were regulated, if we practiced, we would not have an abortion problem.
Yep. That's right. Yep.
Well, I fought for the Constitution for 30 years, so that's easy for me. The Bill of Rights, the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, all of that makes perfect sense. When Whitmer locked down our state, I went out and actually fought for people. I didn't get paid to do it. I fought for kids in schools. I fought for families trying to reunite with people dying in ICU units. I fought for kids in colleges who were being abused by the school systems. But if I could add one thing, critical race theory has to go 100%. I will stand against that forever.
All right, now we're moving on. We're getting to that time of the night. We got to go to closing statements. You each have 1 minute. We're going to start with Mark Forden.
All right, we're going to be going to a convention real soon. Pay the $50 to these people. It pay to play, we know it's wrong, everything else. It's designed and engineered, 88% unified on one subject, right? Rule of law. They are going to bust this up any way they can. They are determined to maintain control of this party, and they got one or more people on this stage right here who's going to help them do that. And we have to determine who they are. They are going to steamroll this convention. First step against the 88% is pay to play. A lot of our people would be either poor or prideful and say, I'm not giving my money. Well, if you do that, you just gave them your vote. You're not going. All right? You got to go. Bring some water, bring some snacks, because they're not going to provide much food and water because they want you to go home. The longer we fight, the longer. This is not going to be like the last convention. They're going to try to steamroll it. Divide everybody as much as they can. You people have to decide who's the best person and get behind them and push. And you start off just like you started off last time. You got to let them know who's boss and go right through the whole thing because they're going to try to steamroll you.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you all for having us here tonight, and I want to give a massive shout out to Melinda Pago, who agreed to be our co-chair. And the thing about it that's so important that we've been involved in this party for so long. We have the experience, we have the operational understanding, we have the institutional knowledge. I've been involved in this party for almost 20 years at every level, from the statewide down to my being a precinct delegate. And the reality is, I'm not doing this because I need a job. I'm not doing this because I want to be in the spotlight. I'm doing this because my kids will be free. And when I look at what's happening in our state, this is not a game. This is not about being empowered to have a title. If we don't stop these people, we're going to lose everything. And so that is it. So please visit KaramoPago.com to learn about our detailed plan, that way we can save our state. And let me say this. When I talk about educating people from the ground level, it's just not educating you on how to engage the party. It's about educating people on how our government works. We cannot be at the mercy of 2- and 4-year election cycles. We have to be educated on such a level that irrespective of who's leading our party or who's in our state legislature, that we can hold them accountable and we can fight for our kids' freedoms. Thank you so much.
All these candidates are great. If Matt DePerno is our chair, I will work with Matt DePerno. Lena Epstein, JD, Billy, Scott, Christina, Mark, and let's not forget Scott Albies. He's a very good candidate too. He's not here. I'll work with whoever. This is why you need to support Mike Farage. Scott just walked in. When I was 12, I went after the Grand Rapids Public Schools. I fought a millage and defeated them. I've taken every branch of government, including the MIGOP. I've challenged them all. This is going to be downright dirty. Mark said it the best. They're not going to surrender. You need a candidate who's going to take these people down into the sewer, because the swamp is where these people belong, and you need someone who knows how to fight them in order to really regain our party back. Mike Farage, thank you.
Good job.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here again. I really appreciate all over the state and here in Alpena tonight, everybody's activation, everybody's passion, everybody's enthusiasm, everybody taking a Friday night when you could be doing a lot of other things because you care about your government and you care about public policy. Folks, that's something I discovered when I was in high school. I've been involved ever since. I have the background and the experience as well as a track record of raising millions of dollars and working on over 100 successful candidates from library board to presidential campaigns throughout the last 35 years. I want to put that experience and that work back to the Republican Party. I want to work to unite the party because I do have contacts in every single part of our organization. I want us to be called two things, no more labels, just Americans and Republicans. I will be an active and engaged chairman working as hard as I can to advance the interest of our organization so in November of 2024 we can get an A on our report card instead of the F we got in November of 22. Thank you so much and God bless.
Here's what Sandy and I are going to do. We're going to give you leadership that inspires, actions that we've already put in place, and accountability that we've already written. We're going to take on election integrity. We're going to take on transparency for the MIGOP. We're going to give the purse back to the people. We're going to run ballot proposals because we need to, because our legislators don't have a job right now. We're going to make them go into colleges and teach our kids what it's like to be a Republican. We're going to go into the blue territories and sit down with people and say, what do you need? You're just a lost Republican. Come on over here. It's true. A lot of people are uneducated. When you sit down with them, the first thing they say is all the stuff we believe in. They're just lost. We are going to bring that to MIGOP, plus many, many more things. I'm not a man of woulda, coulda, shoulda. I'm not a man of I wish, I plan, I kinda. No, I do it and I get it done. The thing that my dad raised me up and I'm the most proud of right now, there's always a problem that's going to face our nation, everything. But you get 3 solutions and only one can cost money. That's what I bring to MIGOP and to you guys, and thank you for having us here tonight.
I too thank you for coming. Fight for your right to be at the February State Convention because it's going to be one of the most important things that you've ever done in your life and for this state. Absolutely, hands down. Leader is who is followed. And if you look at my website, there's several key words that are on my website and that I've talked about for a long time. Activation, return control, education, accountability. These things are all on my website. I was talking about them first. I was doing them first. I was the one who was taking it upon himself to make sure that the delegates knew what to do so that you guys could take power, so that you guys could have power of the purse, so that you guys could hold your representatives accountable. That's what it's about. If you want to take control of your state, if you want to change the direction of the state, that's what it is. That's what I bring as chair. Thank you.
Well, when I started the spring of 2020, when Whitmer shut us down and I went out to help people, talking to people about never submitting to tyranny. That was our rallying cry, people, and that continued through the Antrim County case and when I ran for Attorney General. And my number one goal always, number one, stop the tyranny in this state. Number 2, fix our elections because they are entirely corrupted. I want to now use the MIGOP as a vehicle to make sure that we stop the Democratic agenda, fix our election system, and get Republicans elected. My number one goal, let's beat Democrats. If we can come together on that as people, stop fighting each other, think about beating Democrats, then we can succeed once again in this party. Thank you.
I'm actually going to read from her card. Lena will unite. Before I do that, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to represent Lena tonight, and thank you all for coming.
Lena's more prettier.
She is prettier.
Michael.
I don't know, I think this guy.
But they tell me I look like Ali, so we can still make this happen.
Over the next.
We're gonna we're going to unite. She's going to unite and empower and grow our base. Effectively message our principles, raise a lot of money, secure our elections, and support great candidates. Why am I helping her? I was born in the city of Detroit. I remember sitting in the welfare office with my mother going in to get some food stamps. I was able to grow up and work for a major engineering firm, and my job was to help local governments, local counties run better. Why do I give that story? I helped because of this. When I was a little boy, we depended on the government. When I became a band, I was able to have the government depend on me. That's America, and we will support this state.
All right, so Scott just rolled in with bad weather. We all love global warming. So Scott, we'll give you a minute for your opening and a minute for your closing, so that's 2 minutes if you want to come up.
My name is Augney. I'm from Jackson. All right. For those of you that don't know me, I see some of you that I met before. I'm an election investigator, in addition to running for this seat. Do we have anybody here from Presque Isle County? Yes. I need you folks to get on the phone first thing Monday to Sheriff Brubaker. We have expanded. We've had between today and yesterday our biggest days in terms of election investigation with law enforcement. We're trying to go after the Michigan Bureau of Elections, and we have a law that gives the counties the ability to prosecute and investigate locally. I need you two to call Brubaker's office and tell him we want an investigation in Presque Isle. He taught Darleaf from Berry County down southern part of the state, approached him, and he told us he was going to open an investigation, and it turned out to be lip service. We have to have more and more and more counties, and we're growing every day. But we cannot stop, because anything these people said tonight, anything I say, does not matter unless this election system is shut down. It does not matter. It doesn't matter how much Matt DePerno wants to raise money or anything else, unless we shut this down. So Presque Isle, I need you to get a hold of Brubaker. Tell him to call Sheriff Darleaf. I will come up and help them get going on the investigation. Alpena County, the same thing with you. If you want an investigation in Alpena County, tell your sheriff, get a hold of Darleaf so he can get his investigator up here, and that'll be me. I'm sorry I didn't have any other time, but please consider this. We cannot move on in this country till we get this thing shut down. Thank you.
Thank you guys all for coming, and let's get all the chair candidates. Scott, before you leave, let's get all the chairs together because Scott, are you sure? Well, let's get all of you guys, and hopefully we can grab Scott for a picture because we are a unified Republican Party, and we need to walk out of convention unified behind one candidate. So let's get together. Thank you all for coming.
That's